What's going on, everybody? I am Scott,
I am Donald.
and we are the Movie Defenders, and this is part of the Movie Defender podcast, and this is our non-spoiler review for Zombieland 2, a movie 10 years in the making. 10 years. It took them 10 years to make one. It's funny. I've watched a lot of the interviews since, and I was trying to. A lot of people are asking, like, why 10 years? Why now? And they've been very candid about it and said as soon as the first one was over, a sequel was written. It just wasn't very good. And they've had about one script a year turned in. And they all just had to agree that this is the right one. No, we've got it. This is it. And it took the original writers coming back to actually settle it in. So that's why this wasn't recklessly made. If someone didn't like it, that's fine. But I think they were very, very careful to not just grab the hype and do it and throw it up there and kill some more shit. And you know what I mean? So now that they're out, or now that it's out and you've gone, you went last night. I went twice. I went Thursday, Friday. You went Saturday. So yeah, would you like first shot, sir? What did you expect?
Yeah.
What happened? Yeah, go.
Yeah, I think most of it was absolutely adorable, and I enjoyed every minute of it. There were some parts where there's a bit of a, it's guilty of playing off of the tropes that made the first one so popular. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And I don't think that, unlike something like an Anchorman 2, where we had literal beat for beat moments and scenes where it's like, oh, this is that scene now in this movie. We didn't have stuff like that. I didn't notice things like that per se. But they had, things that, if you liked the rules, that Columbus had in the first one, they're back, and things like that. So there's nothing that is so overdrawn that it would warrant a lot of the negatives that a lot of critics are given. The first Zombieland I was looking at got a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics, and this one is like 66, which just doesn't line up with how I enjoyed this movie. I mean, I was a huge fan of the original. I was like, I walked out of the theater saying, "Give me another one now." And when there was the pilot, Amazon was doing their pilot season, and I was there watching that one. And the only problem with that pilot was that it didn't have the original actors, but everything else was fantastic, and I loved it. I wanted more. I was so heartbroken when we didn't get more Zombieland, and I love this. Talk about expectations of really wanting this movie to bring me back to 2009 in a lot of ways. And I think that it hit all the notes that I needed it to, and brought and fleshed out some more things as well. And answered some more questions, and developed all the characters more. And yeah, there's not a whole lot for me to say bad about this movie, really. I mean, what about you, Scott?
Yeah, it's the crap it's getting is it's a sequel. It's getting typical sequel crap. There is a tightrope you always have to walk with a sequel. Give me more of the familial, so I like it because I wanted more of that, but don't just rehash everything and give me some new stuff. And there is this line that everybody has a different opinion of where it is. I want more new stuff. I want more old stuff, whatever. And they're kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't.
Right.
I agree with you. There were no repeatable story beats. Yes. Tallahassee doesn't want a Twinkie this time. There is something else he wants. That's the only piece, I guess. And it's so wildly different than what he was after before, and has like nothing to do with it, that I don't get it. I don't see it. It's not enough of a beat at all. The only beats, I guess, is I'd like to see them kill some zombies, I guess. And they did. Yeah, it's enough of the more, and well, there was less zombie killing in this than I actually thought there was going to be. I don't know if that's a spoiler, but there was less of it than I kind of thought. And here's the thing that makes sense because, well, they did two things. The zombies are different. We'll leave out how, but they're different. But at the same time, we've seen them kill zombies before and a lot. So if that's all they're doing, you're not giving us anything new either. So my biggest thing for this was I have there was one thing that stole every scene, and that's Zoe Deutsch as Madison.
Mm-hmm.
She steals every scene she's in, and she chews the scenery with reckless abandon, and it is brilliant. And every time she was on the screen, I was just laughing at the fact she existed at all.
Yeah.
Like I found myself laughing at stuff she said that wasn't actually meant to be funny, just because how she is. And she stole the show. What's really funny is I watched a lot of behind the scenes, and all four of the original actors said, like, what was the toughest thing on this movie? And all of them said, not ruining 100 takes watching Zoe. They said, you have no idea how many takes are on the floor because we just couldn't handle it. And she just crushed it. I also liked Ivan Jaga. I can't pronounce that guy's name. He played this other guy called Berkeley. He did really, really well. They purposely set up tropes, but then they just lean into them. Like they unapologetically lean into them. Every one of them is exactly what you would assume that person would be like if they were a stereotypical person from wherever. So I love that. And I love Rosario Dawson. She can do anything. She can't do anything wrong in my book. And she's also kind of a badass. She's really good comedically. She's got some serious comedic chops. First time I saw that was Clerks 2. Where it was the first time I remember her just being in a flat comedy. And she held up amazing. And then anyway, so she's good. Her delivery's great. Loved it. The doppelgangers, and everyone's seen it in the trailer a little bit. In fact, they kind of fool you. The Thomas Middleditch and Luke Wilson characters are in the trailer, and you kind of assume they're going to be in the movie a lot. They're not. They get about one scene and some change. And so that's a little fooling.
For what it's worth, it was a good selling point. It was just about enough for me. I mean, I suppose there were people that loved that and would love to see more, but if for some reason that idea didn't appeal to you and you're like, well, I'm not going to see that movie because that's really dumb. It's not that. Yeah, they don't. They lean it. I don't think they did. No, I mean, they played it up just right, I feel like.
The dialogue was long. Now, the interesting thing was they said it was nearly all improv because Thomas Middleditch is a professionally trained improv actor, and that's what he does. And then Luke Wilson's great, and they kept coming up. I guess on the days they were there, they just came up with just tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff. And so it does go a little long, and everyone's just sitting watching them work. It's brilliant. This is brilliant. Also, I did not know that Jesse Eisenberg is an accomplished playwright. Like he's been writing Broadway plays, and Woody Harrelson said he's seen them all and he's great. And he did a lot of writing on the spot. And I guess they did a lot of writing for each other where, I mean, they said, can you improv? And the director's like, yeah, I'm really big into that. I don't want you to just stick to the script, Ruben Fleischer. And the team said, though, that what they really were doing was they were giving each other lines for each other. Like, oh, you know what Columbus would say right now. And because they all know each other's characters so well. The only thing I would say is that Little Rock was underused a little bit. Only because, and that's part of the plot. That's like the whole point. I won't get into it, but she had the least to do. And she was in not much of the movie. Honestly, she just wasn't. And that's fine.
I mean, the flip side is she was used more than she was in the original, I think. But
I'm trying to remember because I just saw it last week prepping for this. But yeah, if you wanted to see more of her, she's in it a little less, but trust me, it's fine. I laughed my head off. It's awesome. I mean, really, look, it's not that long either. It's not overdone. It's like under 2 hours. If you just want to go,
it's an hour 39. I mean, it's very tight.
It's very tight, and that's what it should be. It's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it kept going, and I laughed so hard. I went back and I laughed harder. I noticed more stuff. Comedies are interesting because you can always pick up little gags and little things that were there that you didn't notice. And there's so much. There's some shit that Woody Harrelson was doing with a van that I didn't notice the first time, and then I caught it. And anyway, it's good stuff, guys. I can't recommend it enough. Man, if you like the first one, I think that the fan score over at Rotten Tomatoes is correct, which is like over 90. Like everyone's like, if you like the first one, it's like, yep, There you go. Do that. I hope this thing makes bank and they just go back and do a third, because I want, here's what I want. I want Zombieland 3 Limber Up. That's what I want. That's what I want. And if we do, I'm in, I'm game, and let's do this. I think a trilogy would, with where they left the characters here, you just come back 2-3 years later. I'm in.
Then you need Zombieland 4, Remember Your Seatbelt.
That's right. It's Zombieland 5, The Little Things. No, it's awesome. It's exactly what you want it to be. So yeah, I guess that's 2 thumbs up recommendation from the Movie Defenders. We have got a full non-spoiler. Exactly, all the thumbs. We've got a non-spoiler show over on our podcast.
No, we have a very, very, very spoilery. Very
spoilery. That's right. Very spoilery. Not only that, but we play clips from the film, and we play them right out of the movie, and we talk about them and laugh with them and all those things. So check it out. The links are in the description. You can check out our podcast, and we invite you to. We'll keep putting these little reviews up on YouTube. Go from there. But anyway, that's I think that's all from us. We're gonna get out of here. We're gonna record the spoilers. We're gonna spoil the crap out of this. Come join us. Anyway, I'm Scott, guys.
I'm Donald. Take care.
It's out.